Is Trump turning Israeli airports into U.S. military bases amid the ongoing war, raising questions over how much of Israel's key civilian infrastructure is now serving American war plans? With some 60 U.S. Air Force tankers crowding Ben Gurion and around 20 American jets operating out of Ramon, is Netanyahu effectively letting Washington hijack Israel's main airports for its own strategic needs? Israeli airlines are paying the price as Trump's jets take over Ben Gurion's limited space, forcing carriers to move planes abroad, cut flights and pass higher costs on to already strained passengers. Israeli airports are increasingly resembling forward U.S. air bases, with media reports on June 1st highlighting the scale of American military aircraft now using civilian facilities. At Ben Gurion Airport, around 60 U.S. Air Force tanker aircraft have reportedly been parked on site, occupying large sections of apron space normally used by Israeli carriers. At the same time, close to 20 U.S. military jets have been spotted operating from Ramon Airport in southern Israel, further underscoring the country's role as a major staging hub. Washington has reportedly asked Israel to continue hosting this large American aircraft presence through 2027, indicating that the arrangement is designed to be long-term rather than temporary. Israel's civil aviation chief warned last month that Ben Gurion Airport has effectively become a U.S. base, arguing that the heavy military footprint is reshaping how the airport functions. He added that the presence of so many American jets has disrupted civilian flight schedules and posed a serious challenge to the business operations of Israeli airlines. As a result of these constraints, Israeli airlines have been forced to relocate many of their aircraft to airports abroad, and some of those planes have still not returned to Israel. One carrier, Israir, which usually parks 17 aircraft at Ben Gurion, is now reportedly permitted to keep only 4 there, sharply reducing its domestic parking capacity. These operational restrictions have pushed up airfares and reduced the number of Israeli flights in circulation, directly affecting passengers and the broader travel market. All of this is unfolding while tensions between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon remain high, meaning civilian aviation infrastructure is being reshaped under the shadow of ongoing regional conflict. On June 1st, Hezbollah released footage of a drone strike on an Israeli Iron Dome launcher, turning the attack into a public message aimed well beyond the battlefield. The group said the strike targeted the Biranit military base near the Lebanon border on May 27, framing the hit as part of its wider campaign against Israeli positions. The video showed a fiber-optic guided FPV drone tracking the target before impact, suggesting a carefully directed strike rather than a random attack. Hezbollah claimed the attack destroyed an Iron Dome system deployed inside the base, raising fresh questions about how vulnerable the launcher was when the drone reached it. The group said the strike used an explosive-laden suicide drone against the launcher, underlining the kind of low-cost, high-impact tactics now defining this confrontation. The Iran-backed group claimed this was the 7th Iron Dome hit during May alone, a count that Hezbollah is clearly using to showcase momentum and pressure. Hezbollah claimed Babel drones destroyed 2 Neymar vehicles in Debil town, adding another layer to its broader drone war against Israeli armor and supply lines. The group also said missiles targeted Israeli troop gatherings inside Kauza, suggesting that manpower concentrations are being pulled into the same strike pattern. Hezbollah said an Israeli anti-drone radar was destroyed near Khalat al-Sharkif, a claim that would matter because blinding detection systems can open the door to more attacks. Hezbollah also claimed a precision missile destroyed an Israeli vehicle in Debin, showing that the group is mixing drone strikes with targeted missile fire. 2 missiles were also fired toward Israeli military infrastructure in Safed, keeping pressure on rear positions that Israel may have hoped were less exposed. The group claimed suicide drones targeted Israeli troops in Maroun al-Raz, pointing to a pattern of repeated and layered attacks across the northern front. This comes amid reports that Israel was caught off guard by Hezbollah's new strategy, with the IDF now facing a more adaptive and unpredictable opponent. Hebrew Channel 13 said the IDF was surprised by the scale and intensity of the attacks, suggesting that the recent wave of fire may have outpaced Israel's expectations. The report linked the escalation to Israel's ground push north of the Litani River, implying that Hezbollah's retaliation is directly tied to developments on the front line. The wave of attacks also comes as the US reportedly proposed a new roadmap to de-escalate the war in Lebanon, raising the question of whether diplomacy can still slow a fight that is clearly heating up. A US official told Al Jazeera that Marco Rubio held separate talks with Joseph Aoun and Benjamin Netanyahu. The proposal calls for Hezbollah to halt attacks on Israel in exchange for Israel avoiding further military escalation. A U.S. official said the plan is designed to achieve gradual de-escalation and an eventual cessation of hostilities. The U.S. reportedly placed responsibility for the fighting on Hezbollah and accused it of following Iran's direction. A U.S. official claimed Iran is prolonging the conflict to position itself as a potential mediator, Al Jazeera reported. A Lebanese official told Axios that the IRGC is encouraging Hezbollah to escalate in order to gain leverage against the U.S. The official alleged Tehran views the Lebanon front as a bargaining chip in broader negotiations with Washington. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun reportedly tried to advance the U.S. proposal through talks with Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri. However, a U.S. official described the speaker's response to the proposal as evasive and disappointing. According to the official, Berri said he would guarantee Hezbollah's commitment to a ceasefire arrangement. Berri reportedly insisted that Israel must stop firing first before any truce can realistically take hold. Rubio's diplomatic push reportedly intensified over the last 48 hours amid fears of a wider regional escalation. US-Iran peace talks remain deadlocked despite the continuation of indirect communication between both sides. Key disputes involving nuclear commitments, sanctions relief, and the Strait of Hormuz remain unresolved. On May 31st, Iran's foreign minister confirmed that indirect messages with Washington were still being exchanged. However, Abbas Araghchi cautioned that reports suggesting a breakthrough remain speculative at the current stage. He said no conclusions should be drawn until both sides reach a final decision on the outstanding issues. With talks with the United States stuck at a stalemate, Iran's top negotiator has issued a new warning about the direction of the confrontation. Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, said a new phase of conflict with the United States and Israel has already begun. Ghalibaf made the statement during a virtual session of Parliament on May 31st, addressing lawmakers amid rising regional tensions.
Along this path, as I have stated repeatedly, the soldiers on the front line of the diplomatic struggle place no trust whatsoever in the enemy's words or promises. What matters to us are the tangible achievements that we must obtain in order to undertake our own commitments in return, and until we are certain that we have secured the rights of the Iranian nation, we will not approve any agreement. Unity in the face of the enemy's schemes to sow division and social fragmentation within the country deserves even greater attention from us, the members of Parliament. In particular, he cautioned us against allowing even legitimate differences of opinion to degenerate into discord and division, and called upon us to embody, both in word and in action, the unity and solidarity of the nation. It is true that we do not give anyone a blank check, but we must not fall into the trap of protracted, wearisome conflicts either. Rather, through issue-oriented and expert-based oversight, the correct identification of priorities, and by placing national interests and public demands above factional and local considerations, we must chart an effective and expedited path toward resolving the country's problems.
Iran's top negotiator said recent developments reflect a wider struggle that now spans military, political, and social fronts simultaneously. The speaker accused the United States of using both economic pressure and media influence as tools against Iran. According to him, the goal of this pressure campaign is to create internal divisions and weaken Iran's national cohesion. Ghalibaf declared that the conflict is no longer limited to the traditional military battlefield. He described four interconnected fronts of confrontation: military operations, public mobilization, diplomacy, and internal governance. Iran's parliament speaker also said Tehran's missile capabilities are only possible due to what he described as sustained public support and national unity. Ghalibaf added that any future agreement must deliver tangible and measurable results before Iran makes any binding commitments. A U.S. official told Al Jazeera that Marco Rubio held separate talks with Joseph Aoun and Benjamin Netanyahu. The proposal calls for Hezbollah to halt attacks on Israel in exchange for Israel avoiding further military escalation. A U.S. official said the plan is designed to achieve gradual de-escalation and an eventual cessation of hostilities. The U.S. reportedly placed responsibility for the fighting on Hezbollah and accused it of following Iran's direction. A U.S. official claimed Iran is prolonging the conflict to position itself as a potential mediator, Al Jazeera reported. A Lebanese official told Axios that the IRGC is encouraging Hezbollah to escalate in order to gain leverage against the U.S. The official alleged Tehran views the Lebanon front as a bargaining chip in broader negotiations with Washington. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun reportedly tried to advance the U.S. proposal through talks with Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri. However, a U.S. official described the speaker's response to the proposal as evasive and disappointing. According to the official, Berri said he would guarantee Hezbollah's commitment to a ceasefire arrangement. Berri reportedly insisted that Israel must stop firing first before any truce can realistically take hold. Rubio's diplomatic push reportedly intensified over the last 48 hours amid fears of a wider regional escalation.